but the offer to free him is strange. I don't know why Trump would do that. Like, why would I don't get what that's about. It's just kind of it's a weird position. It's a weird position for Trump to take. It just doesn't seem like it benefits him really. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it does seem strange.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Red Candle Club, July edition.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Been out touching grass. I got married, so big deal there. And I went to Europe for a couple of weeks. So, just enjoying the summer.
Hell yeah, man.
The computer screen in the city.
It's amazing. Yeah. I was chilling in the Adirondacks, hitting some mountains with some friends. Nice. Got a couple injuries, but overall really good being disconnected and not having any internet, getting bombarded with work messages or crypto news, markets crashing. So highly recommend everyone, wherever you are, getting outside and enjoying the air and the grass and the trees as often as you can, because things can get pretty crazy if you're just constantly devouring news. But it's been a minute, so there's a lot to, catch up on, and we'll, do our best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, one of the things I like about crypto is during the summer, the markets tend to chill. Like I don't remember when markets did anything crazy during the summertime. Early summer 2019 was the last time I could remember, because there was a nice Bitcoin pump back then. But I mean,
yeah, I remember summer 2020 being a little wild. Good old DeFi summer. I don't know if you remember that too well.
That's true. Yeah, DeFi summer was pretty wild. Yeah, we also had the crash of COVID too, so it was just people were just buying up Bitcoin to recover it too. That was a crazy time. But
yeah, fun times.
Yeah, I mean, I was while I was away, the markets didn't even really move. I mean, I was from the time I left to the time I got back, basically the prices were exactly the same. I was checking it, but it was just there was nothing really happening, which I guess was a blessing. I don't want it to move when I'm on vacation.
My main obsession lately has been just poly market trading, and
nice.
That it's horrible. I mean, it's just pure gambling, but it kind of, there's a little bit of something for everyone on poly market. I feel where if you're more of a political junkie, they have all these weird little things you could bet on depending on the conspiracy theory of the day that you have. And I think that's been very interesting. We can cover that later in the politics segment, but with the whole hot swap concerns over Biden and everything, that poly markets have been very activated in response to all of that. And there's a lot to chew into in that whole application. So, but they have sports and global temperatures. They have basically everything. But yeah, that's been my main thing that I've been tracking lately, because the typical price action has just been very boring lately, like you said. So,
Yep. Except last week. Last week was interesting, but just in the wrong direction, unfortunately. But it was interesting.
Right. We did have quite a crash.
Yeah. So
what do you think? What do you think about that?
Yeah. So just before we start, this podcast is just for educational purposes. This is not financial advice. Just do your own research and due diligence, etc. Anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like the last time this has happened, I mean, when I looked at the charts, it was August of last year. We got a sell-off that was this brutal. So I feel to be honest, there's a lot of people freaking out on Twitter, but I don't think it's that bad, honestly. I feel if anything, this is healthy. We needed it. The late last year and early this year was pretty nuts. So, I actually feel it's good, because that means the cycle will go a little longer. So, it's a pullback. We're taking a break.
I guess there's the whole, that we had the halving recently. Is this behavior in your view, typical of what we might see? As far as like price action post to flow. I'm gonna try to pull the stock to flow as well.
I feel like typically there actually is a sell-off around the halving, from what I remember of the last couple cycles. I mean, 2020 was a little different because we had COVID too, so that I think definitely like pushed things further than they usually would go. But there was a massive sell-off around there, and in 2016 it was pretty similar too. So there's nothing that's atypical really happening here. That like, the halving is the couple months after the halving is pretty boring. And then usually by the end of the year, like fall, winter is when things really pick up. And that's when the halving really starts to take effect in the price. So there's nothing really weird happening here. What would be weird is if we just went straight up all summer. That would be weirder than what's happening now. But it's not fun. It's not fun to see everything go down and to have your portfolio go down. I mean, it's definitely shitty feelings. It's not great, but I think it's just a good exercise to zoom out. And like the trend is still intact. It's we're just taking a break.
I agree with what you're saying. Typical pullback after the halving, and then I forget the numbers. Like 400 days after the halving, you see like hit all-time high again. Yeah, anyways, we're still pretty high up there in terms of price. We've pulled back a lot in the last week, but it's nothing. And we've also had a ton of selling, right? With the German government has been doing a lot here, selling like $1 billion over the last week. And then I don't know quite what's happening with Mt. Gox, but that also seeing that be notated here as well in the CoinMarketCap chart.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, like if you're a Mt. Gox holder and you've been locked out of your Bitcoins for 10 years and you just get it and the Bitcoin price is 100x higher than when you lost it, like you're probably going to sell a little bit. I mean, maybe not all of it, but you're going to sell some. So, I can imagine, there's a lot of selling from that. Yeah. I mean, there's people who got like accidentally rich kind of from this, I guess. But the interesting thing from a technical standpoint is that Bitcoin went under its 200-day estimated moving average, which was about 58,000. And it's kind of hanging out below there. And it looks like it turned that into resistance. So the last couple times that we tried to break out of 58, we couldn't. So it seems like that's resistance for right now. So if we stay under this level for too long, we could go lower for a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see 50, even the 40s briefly, if we might dip into that range. But I mean, I see this as an buying opportunity. I mean, if you have money in bull markets, having the price be under the 200-day estimated moving average is like a gift. It's a big gift. If the bull market is still intact, this is a good place to buy. So, just saying, not financial advice, of course, but
sweet. What else do you think about Ethereum or Solana? Are we seeing any kind of mirroring roughly what we're seeing in Bitcoin?
Well, Ethereum, again, like this is kind of like a weird cycle where Bitcoin reached this new all-time high way earlier than it usually does at this point. Like usually, like in past cycles, we didn't see the new all-time high yet. So this is interesting. But Ethereum, this is still pretty normal. Like Ethereum didn't break its new all-time highs until February 2021 last cycle, which would be February 2025 of this cycle. So we still have plenty of time for Ethereum to reach its new all-time high. Solana, I mean, whatever. This is a new cycle for Solana, so we're going to learn as we go here with that. But yeah, Solana got pretty wrecked lately too, but it's also held up really well compared to a lot of the other tokens, and it's still above its estimated moving average, which is quite nice to see, because so it actually has more support than Bitcoin does. But what about Ethereum? Ethereum's in the same spot as Bitcoin technically, where it's like hanging out under the average. So Solana looks strong here. Actually, it looks really strong compared to the other two. So, I mean, this could be a signal for the cycle. Like, Solana's probably going to outperform, I think, both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Just
Right.
who knows when it's
Perhaps.
going to happen, though. That's the thing. We don't know when. It could be after Ethereum pumps a ton. It could be before. It could be at the same time. It remains to be seen.
Yeah, I think we're seeing an interesting shift away. I mean, we have a lot of these alt L1s, which we chatted about last time, is that thesis perhaps not being as robust as it once was. But I definitely think Solana is cementing itself. They're shipping a lot. We're going to be talking a good bit about Solana today, but I think it's going to be reflected in market cap, especially with the next bull cycle, and it's going to be a very resilient chain. So that's going to stick around. So cool. Yeah. So I think we can do a quick little rapid fire of stories since last time, and then we can go a little bit more into detail. So I think a couple interesting things on the fundraising front. I'll pull this up from Alpha Pact News. They have like some, they basically just do rapid fire of various components. The fundraising, pick out which looks interesting.
Oh, nice.
So, Sentient, community-built open AGI, raised $85 million in seed funding, led by Founders Fund. I have not heard of this.
That is insane for seed funding.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Jesus.
Peter Thiel, Pantera. So, yeah, quite a lot of familiar faces here.
What Twitter account is this? I'm going to show notes.
It is Alpha Pact News, Alpha Pact HQ. So, yeah, we can maybe go into this a little later, but yeah, definitely we're seeing that this AI hype playing out quite heavily, and there's still questions around, like, is it a bubble or is it legitimate? And I think we're just going to have to see. I think AI is just such a massive opportunity where it's unclear exactly how many trillions of dollars this industry is going to be, but I think we're just going to have to see how these products turn out. And then, of course, there are going to be products that fail and are total BS. And I think, we're familiar with some of those. We've chatted with some in the past, and there are definitely projects that are going to have more technical meat on the bone. So Lombard, Bitcoin Staking raised $16 million. Redstone Oracles raised $15 million. More AI. Astria, shared sequencers, connecting rollups, raised $12.5 million, led by DBA and Placeholder. What else? Universal Settlement Layer. Pi Squared raised 12.5.
Compute Labs was I saw that one. That was a pretty interesting one. The Solana-based GPU token one. Yeah, that seems interesting. And $3 million
led by Protocol Labs. That's also interesting.
Yeah,
because they are building Filecoin. So.
Oh, interesting. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Okay, is that so basically selling your GPU, similar in the same vein as Akash or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Akash, or I guess IO would be the closest one because IO's on Solana. So IONET.
Right.
But IONET had a crazy valuation though. It was billions. So it's
cool. Wow. Yeah, everything else here.
Restaking on Solana. Soleil. Huh. Okay. That's interesting.
What's that? Okay. Interesting. Raised undisclosed amounts, but has
Ansem gotten into this? Oh my God.
Oh wow. Okay. Totally.
Trails. Ansem is on the same list as Anatoly. I feel like that's a cardinal sin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, you can't.
He's just a meme lord. I honestly don't know much.
He's a Twitter meme shiller. Yeah, I mean, Anatoly is the guy that actually built Solana. It's just how do you put these two guys' name on the same page? It's crazy.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. They're drawing from Ethereum here, it seems, or the EV situation. So we'll see on that. And $675 million worth of crypto positions get wrecked as Bitcoin price crashes. MegaETH is another protocol that announced a massive fundraising round. We'll get into that. Solana Actions and Links go live. So that deals with user interactions on X feeds and DMs. Solana ZK Compression also went live or was announced. So there's been some drama there. in the last couple of weeks regarding terminology and like, is this just a pure copycat of Ethereum? We'll cover that in a little bit. And what else? Oops, let me share that. Sharing the actual doc. The Tensor, there's been a little bit of an exploit there. Possible TAO funds have been at risk, so the network's been halted for the last week. Polkadot, there's been, I don't know if there's a leak or there's already public information, but just that they're spending enormous amounts on marketing, and it still remains unclear exactly what that has been yielding the protocol in terms of name recognition and actual traction on the network. And then a little bit of the politics. We'll cover a little bit of Polymarket and Republican Party putting more effort into championing these crypto issues on their platform. And I think the Supreme Court overruling of the Chevron doctrine has a lot of impact on us as well, given how much the SEC has been attacking the crypto industry lately. This ruling could play a significant role here. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into all of that. First, I think we can cover a little bit of something with Ethereum. I noticed that there was a staking survey that ETH Staker, it's like a huge Ethereum staking community. They did a survey, and I thought it might be interesting to like go through it a little bit, because what we're seeing right now is a lot of centralization of stake occurring. And let's see if I can get the screen going here. We can cover this for a few minutes. So basically, Ethereum has always been bragging about how many validators it has and how decentralized it is. But that's no longer the case. It hasn't been the case for a while now. And due to the large staking requirement of 30 ETH, that's almost $100,000. And it's infeasible for a lot of solo stakers nowadays to really be staking. So they basically cover, they have some charts towards the bottom of this report here where you see majority of people staking since Genesis, very minimal joining later on. Most of the people joining later on are node providers or these large liquid staking pools. And surprisingly, I mean, I don't know if this is by quantity of validators or this is by TVL. It looks like it's just a random sampling of people. And probably this is biased as well toward the participants in the eStaker community. So I don't think, you might have one person working at a node operation firm who would say that they are like bare metal or cloud, but they account for thousands of validators. So perhaps there's some situation there, but yeah, I guess it's interesting to see like a lot of the stakers are kind of, claiming that they are continuing to run things the exact same as they were. But
interesting.
We're also going to be seeing with the Pectra upgrade that the validator limit is going to be raised so that you can actually store a lot more ETH to a single validator beyond 32. So it actually looks like Ethereum's trying to compress that number of validators in the network to improve performance.
Interesting.
Let's see. Yep. So I think we're going to see what happens. I think Ethereum staking is still pretty robust and decentralized. However, it's likely not going to be as decentralized long term.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That makes sense. I mean, I've always felt that way about proof of stake in general. Like as the price keeps going up, it actually gets worse because you're basically forced to stake it with a pool. You can't do a solo staking as the price goes up more and more. Like when Ethereum is 10,000, it's going to be like almost $500,000 just to run your own staking operation. So, I mean, yeah, I just don't see people doing that. Unless you're like a huge whale and you just don't want to put your money in someone else's operation. But most people, like any new coming person from here on out, is probably going to be using a pool. So yeah, so that you're just contributing to centralization.
Yeah, absolutely. The pools are just overloaded with Ethereum. So yeah, the pools are actively looking for operators to delegate their Ethereum to, and yeah, so that's showing no signs of slowing down. But of course, the risk is that those pools become very centralized, and you run into risks. And there have been several events recently where those problems have bubbled up into like actual keys getting exploited and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see. Interestingly, 80% of the respondents are not full-time in crypto.
Interesting. Actually,
so that's kind of
wow.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. People believe in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff.
Anyways,
I mean, it's kind of cool if they do these. Like, Ethereum's pretty mature now. It's been around for 10 years. So it's in crypto, that's like a long time. So
yeah, I'd be curious to see like one on Bitcoin. Like
the Bitcoin
miners identifying what's going on like with them.
No, they're too afraid to get doxxed, man. They're not going to do it. They're privacy maxis. They're not going to respond to these.
Yeah, I needed to like get into some Bitcoin testnet. Like testnet Bitcoin was needed for a protocol that we were like trying to explore, and getting in touch with the Bitcoin community is so hard. Like compared to like basically every other network, they have Discords or they're like on Twitter. All the developer teams might have like contact forms. There's like emails, LinkedIn. There's like all sorts of mediums that you can reach out to these people on and like request testnet tokens. But for Bitcoin Signet, it was totally impossible. They have this weird chat room where you have to like join it and like make a name for yourself, and then you have to find the right channel specifically for the testnet. And it was like very odd and difficult, and no one would like reply in it. It was a very bad experience. It's very hard to get in touch with Bitcoin developers, and they just like complained and like booted me out of the channel when I was requesting any sort of testnet tokens beyond like 0.00001 Bitcoin. So that was just a random experience dealing with them. But yeah, let's see. MegaETH. Shall we dive in there?
We will try. I've read briefly about it. So I'm confused. Like I'm a little confused about like, is this a new L1, or is it just I'm not sure what layer this is operating at.
Yeah.
I guess let's just talk about what it is first. Let's just go over exactly what it is first before we go into like what layer it is.
Yeah. So basically it's branded as real-time Ethereum. So it's designed for boosting the throughput of L2. So it's not necessarily going to be plugging in directly into Ethereum to L1 and like radically transforming it. So it's more of like an L2 solution. So they have all these backers, Vitalik and various other players within the EVM space, and they rattle these crazy statistics of like over 100K, 10 gigagas per second, which is extremely high, and low transaction fees and all that. So they have like this silly little chart of just like MegaETH being very fast. So I guess they it's unclear exactly how it works at a technical level. I know that there's been discussion of just roughly like there's a sequencer, there's provers, there's full nodes. So the typical roles of like a rollup are involved here. And they say that the sequencer stores everything of the entire state in memory. And supposedly the first blockchain implement in-memory compute, and then utilizes this just-in-time compiler, which I feel like I've heard in other contexts as well.
Mm-hmm.
So basically just like some hardware improvements, and it will likely be more centralized. And that's essentially the crux of what I have on it. I mean, this is interesting as well, where this chart is based on I'm not sure if it's still showing up here yet, is I feel like we discussed this chart maybe last time, like Ref, it's a new client that like Paradigm's research team is building. It's like the Geth client reworked.
Oh, yes,
Rust.
we did. Yep.
Yeah. So this is basically that chart where they talk about the gas throughput that they expect to have. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like maybe it's built on Ref, or they build off of Ref to be its own roll-up. And
cool. So basically, it's like the L2 that's supposed to. It's the L2 that's going to end all L2s, basically, right?
I think so. Yeah, based on what we're seeing here, where they're dropping. Let's see here, Optimism mainnet. So even though Optimism is like this L2 and base, those are like OP stack, kind of like V1, I guess, roll-up scalability. Mm-hmm. So it's like faster, but it's not as fast as it could be, likely due to the architecture and it not being written in Rust.
Yep.
Not super optimized. So it seems like, MegaETH is possibly this new roll-up that, will totally supersede everything else. So I could see that being interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, I think the whole industry is going to trend towards Rust. Generally, I think it's to get the scalability we need. Like it's just Rust is going to be the language. Like it's what's used in high frequency trading. It's used in high finance, all over the place. C++. So Rust is basically like the new C++, and I think it's I mean, if you're trying to work in this industry, you should probably pick up some Rust. I've been learning some, just like an hour or two. I try to get some time in. There's a steep learning curve, but anyway, that's a tangent. But
yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the top software development skill you can learn. It's just getting into like Rust getting very low level and like
it's not going to happen overnight though. Yeah. It's not going to happen overnight. Like I'm it's not like Python where you could spend like a night or two and then you can start writing programs. It's like like you hit one thing and you get to a certain point and then you just get your mind shattered again with another concept in Rust and you're like, damn, I have to like read more books and figure it out. It's just like there's a big learning curve, which is going to take longer. But I mean, the industry is going to trend in this direction, I think. I mean, Bitcoin runs on C++. Like, I just don't think Golang is fast enough.
I haven't coded with either of these thoroughly. I was doing a little bit of like this boot camp that was, teaching Solana like contract development, and it was very different from what I was used to. So I can see it definitely like being a hardcore pedal to the metal, hit the books kind of vibe. Yeah. But it's clearly paying off.
For sure. Yeah.
These people.
Yeah, this is an interesting concept. I mean, if it works out, great. I like Ethereum needs it. They need to scale. And having just infinite L2s is not going to fix it. I mean, you might get the scalability you want, but it's the user experience is going to be awful. Like, if you're an app developer, it's just you're never going to get the users you need when you're one of 100 L2s and you're only deployed on a couple of them as an app developer. And now you need to support now how many L2s. Every time they release new updates, you got to be compatible. It's just like it's just not going to. You're not going to get the max user density that way.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how these will compete with L3s today. So like the super chains and the hyper chains, orbits.
Yeah.
Supernet, Polygon.
Isn't DGen chain another L3?
Possibly.
Yeah. Chain. There's L3s already. So it's
right.
So
so this we'll see it's a L2 like just beats everything else out, or there's gonna be new L3s on this. So the space just moves so crazy fast, and similar to the AI space right now, where you build something super innovative and then like a year later it's already gonna be, you have to radically reinvent yourself.
Yeah, a year is optimistic.
So pivoting is becoming critical.
You're looking at like 3 months, 4 months before something else comes out that you're using, or another model. It's just like, with the phones, we have the version 8 and then the version 8A that comes out 6 months later, right? That's kind of like what's happening with AI. It's like 3 months now. So you have your Claude 3, and then the 3.0 model a few months later, it's like does the same thing with small. But anyway, things are happening quickly. But this is an interesting development.
Absolutely.
I hope it works out. I mean, I want Ethereum to be cheaper and faster. So, but yeah, definitely going to keep track of this one because there's a lot of big backers behind it.
Yeah, we'll definitely be following this, and hopefully we can run into them at any conferences or if they're doing some events in the city.
Sure. Yeah.
See if we can get them on the podcast. So moving on, do you want to cover Blinks? Those came out recently. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with them and like why they're so special.
Sure. Yeah. So this is a pretty recent development. Solana Actions and Links. So blockchain links. That's what it stands for. Basically, you're going to be able to send a link to someone and then have to be able to perform a transaction basically in one step. So now instead of someone mentioning a ticker to you and then you having to go to Jupiter and find if it's there, or to go to wherever DEX you are and see if it's there first and then buy it, you can just go right from link to purchase in one shot. So like you'll click the link and then your wallet will open with the transaction and you approve a transaction and that's it. So I think it's a pretty big deal. It just makes the user experience a lot better. So like you can think if you have a Substack and you want people to subscribe to your Substack and pay in crypto, you could just create a link now and send it to people and they could just pay in crypto now. They don't have to do all these extra steps to get there. So like little things like that, it's a user experience upgrade. It's going to be available on Twitter first. So it's just going to be in Twitter, these links. That's going to be like the test phase. And then they're going to roll it out to general, internet. So like Reddit and, other places where, you spend time. But Twitter is really the big place in crypto. So
interesting. So do you think they're checking initially just that the origin of the link routing is coming from Twitter first, and then
I would imagine
they're just kind of doing that for security or something?
I think so, yeah. I think there's got to be some integration that Twitter's doing. And I guess, you could look at, if they send a certain cookie or something, or, there's ways to say, oh, we're coming from Twitter than somewhere else. So it's going to happen at the Web 2 layer, I think, probably. But yeah, it's an interesting idea. I just, my mind goes to, this is going to, could you... scamming is going to get on a whole new level with this. If you just send someone a link and then that's all they have to do is click the link and do a transaction, it's going to make scamming a lot easier too now. So,
yeah,
it's just,
that's a good point.
Yeah. So just, be careful. This is the thing, you get it, you click the link, you go to the address and oh, can you confirm the address that, it's just do you ever confirm the address or do you just click submit and hope it works out, right? I wouldn't use this with my main wallet. I would probably create a burner wallet and try it first for a while before I did it. But maybe I think it should come with that, honestly. But yeah, so a Blink URL describes an action. Yeah, it's a good idea. I think this is it's a good idea. They're going to have to deal with some verification somewhere. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a fantastic idea, to constantly have to always, navigate to these apps yourself and then figure out, what the right intent is. It's very difficult. And I wonder how beef you can make these actions where, can you do, multi-app swap, deposit, borrow stuff where it's can you basically, I would imagine you could. I'm just not a protocol engineer, so I would need to, we probably want to talk to one of the Solana DevRels or something to see
Sure.
exactly how far can you go with these blinks. But yeah, I would say we need to just have more security builders and we need to get wallets to really understand malicious transactions. And I think it should be up to the wallet provider to prevent fraudulent or phishing attacks, or if you click on a link and like, it should prompt your wallet, hopefully, and then that wallet should tell you like, okay, this is actually like, are you aware that this is going to like do this to your wallet? Like, that would be sick.
But like, you know, a little more glass half full here. I mean, this is it's really innovative. Like, if now, like, you know, when you go on Twitter and you look at someone posts, I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like they're just swarmed with meme bots now. Like, it's literally just like someone posts something and then the next 10 replies are like just meme coins with like a shitty picture or something, right? Now, what if those tickers also linked to the place where you could buy it now? So you just click the ticker, it brings you to this, you know, it basically opened up your wallet and you could buy it immediately. Like, that's pretty powerful, you know. So it's also going to make meme tokens even crazier. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I like it. They definitely are like very in tune with what users want. So
yeah,
I guess another win for Solana's
user experience, man. It's
user experience. Yep, 100%. They also had another thing recently. There's some drama with the whole ZK compression story, and we can cover this briefly. You know, there's this argument, I guess, has sort of died down a little bit in the last week or so, but essentially Solana coined this new product, ZK Compression, and it's similar to Ethereum ZK rollups, so there's nothing radically different there. Essentially, they optimize on-chain account storage, so they only store the state roots, which are hashes of compressed account data, transaction data. They store that compressed hash on the chain. So instead of storing everything how you normally would, which in a non-compressed format, you would pay more gas for that. So it's similar concept here to what we see on Ethereum. What do they have? Sparse Merkle trees, ZKPs, and compressed account data stored off-chain in the Solana ledger. So that's all there. And I'll scroll down to this article where they go through the differences specifically. Of course, Solana has a slightly different model from Ethereum. Ethereum has like the EOAs, the wallets, and then they have contracts, but Solana treats everything as these accounts. So I think that enables them to have a little bit more of the ZK compression concept. More of it is residing in the chain, is my impression.
Mm-hmm.
So more of it is kind of contained in like the Solana consensus, whereas these like ZK rollups they have questionable security. It seems to be my like high level overview here. And then, you know, they go in this article here trying to understand how exactly it works and what's different. So Ethereum ZK rollups, the full transactions are handled off chain. Sequencers process it, and those sequencers are single points of failure. Right now, most L2 rollups like Base or Optimism Arbitrum, these sequencers are just controlled by the foundation, and the provers are typically controlled by the foundation. There are other protocols like espresso systems which are looking to decentralize those sequencers, but at the moment, to my knowledge, like nothing's really decentralized yet. And, you know, they prove these transactions off-chain. So it's on top of Ethereum. That's how it works on Ethereum ZK rollups, and then Solana ZK compression. According to this guy, the compression occurs directly on the Solana L1, and they, you know, that's essentially the crux of it, I would say. And then, of course, you know, the use cases of it are anything that requires high frequency, low value related transactions. So I guess it's kind of like a variation of what Ethereum has accomplished today,
mm-hmm.
as far as like this roll up paradigm, but it's, you know, I guess it doesn't require a separate security council, chain ID switching, governance token, or external sequencer. So I think this is really the crux of it, according to Anatoly. Shares some L2-like features, but like Optimism, Base, Arbitrum, you have these you have to switch the chain ID on MetaMask or whatever wallet you're using. You're essentially on like a different chain, and that's extremely annoying to deal with as a user.
Sure.
So yeah, so far I'm a fan. I haven't like had a chance to use this exact feature yet, but by the sounds of it, it sounds pretty cool.
It sounds better actually the way it is in Solana, right? I mean, it's right on the chain. You're not going outside of it. You know, you don't have fragmentation. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, my take is, there's just like so much of this like rivalry going on. It's just interesting, you know. I mean, it's technology. Two chains are using it. They're using it in different ways. I mean, I don't, you know, I mean, competition's good. You know, I mean, we just spoke about a project where Ethereum's going to Rust. I mean, are they not allowed to use Rust now because Solana uses Rust? You know, I mean, come on, like it's okay to have chains copying each other a little bit if they're just trying to be better products. They appeal to different people. So,
yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot of triggered people from the Ethereum side on Twitter that are just like, "This is just copying Ethereum, like screw you." Yeah, it's just like really dumb. Like,
yeah, these are
just like chill out.
Smooth brain takes. Like I mean, if you're on social media, like they do the same shit. Like Snapchat, basically Snapchat's destroyed now because Instagram had stories, right? They just did the stories thing. You have Reels on Facebook, right? Like that basically was Snapchat, and they just put it inside of their app, right? I mean, this happens all the time. They got to compete, right? They can't just ignore these things and, you know, let other chains just continue to have these advantages if they don't, you know, implement it. I think it's the sign of a business savvy chain, and that, you know, and they're aware of what others are doing. These are good things to have if they're done well, which Solana does things well. So, I mean, again, like both chains have their strengths, you know. So I don't understand what the rivalry is, but you know, I'm open. I mean, I like the innovativeness of Solana and like in using this tech because I mean they're just trying to be more scalable, right? That's the whole game.
Absolutely, yeah, full agreement there. Yeah, so next couple things, I guess the TAO network halts.
Yeah.
Not sure if there's something you want to dive into a little bit more detail here.
Yeah, a little bit. Because I've been dabbling in this one. So TAO, basically there was some attack where there was, it seems like when I'm in Discord and just like reading about it over the past 5 days, it was related to like a Python dependency. It was a supply chain attack essentially. So what this is, you know, when you're writing code in Python, you claim a dependency, which is like you're saying I need this code to write my code, and you assume that code is safe when you download it. And in this case, it wasn't because they weren't verifying it, right? So they basically downloaded a virus instead of the code that they were relying on, and it took their money essentially. So that's a very layman's terms of what happened. I think 8 million got taken out. So yeah, 8 million worth of TAO. So, you know, it was pretty jarring to the community to have it happen. So what they ended up doing was they halted the chain, and, you know, just to figure out what's wrong and fix it. And that was 5 days ago, and that chain's still halted as of today, Monday, July 8th. So yeah, it's a pretty good amount of time for a chain to be down. And of course, like there's a lot of FUD around like, oh, it's supposed to be decentralized. How can you stop the chain? But I think we've learned in this industry that decentralization is a process. It doesn't happen right away. You have to start pretty centralized and go towards decentralization over time, which is how Solana's done things. You know, they're getting to move towards that, and TAO is going to be similar. But 5 days is still a long time, is my take. That's,
yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're building a company on this and you're out for 5 days, I mean, you know, these are people's livelihoods that are just like stopped now because of this. So it's quite a long time.
Yeah, this is pretty significant.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. To me, it's not good. It's like I don't know. I don't like that it's down for so long. I don't like that it's taking so long for them to communicate about it. It could just be FUD.
Yeah,
you know, maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. I need to have more confidence, whatever. But it just seems like it's taking a long time.
Yeah, I like following TAO. I think we you called it very early before its massive run up, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. But I do feel like TAO doesn't have a ton of, in my view, like a ton of meat on the bone. Like I'm not super educated on it, and I have not used it personally, but my general sense is like there's a lot that they have to build and figure out still, and there's like a lot of vectors that could enable manipulation of the network.
Yeah,
and I guess it's kind of like it seems to be governed in like an interesting way that might be considered controversial.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's they have a lot of work to do to make this into what they want to make it in, but I feel like they're just like super early, and I mean, like they're just very early into making this what it's supposed to be, if it ever gets there, and it's a big gamble. But like
Yeah,
Solana very early days was like this too, to be honest. Like back when, this was like back in 2019. They did like Tour de Sol or something it was called, where like basically it was just validators testing the network, and they would like hand out Solana each month to the validators, and it was very like it was all over Discord. That was the whole thing. Like there was just like they would communicate how much would go out, and they would troubleshoot things, and the chain would go down for long periods of time. Like it was very similar to this. So it could just be we're super early on this, and I think BitTensor is gonna be next cycle story. I don't think it's gonna really be this cycle. It's just too early for it. I could be wrong, but it's yeah. I mean, we're still early in AI, so you're trying to merge these two worlds,
right.
and it's like there's just too much to figure out. So yeah, that's my
I don't know if it having a token is possibly distracting, and giving people an opportunity to dive into something that was just not ready yet for mass adoption.
It's also taken them long to deliver too. Like they've been talking about dynamic TAO for like a long time, like almost a year now, and it still just hasn't happened. It's basically like a way for right now. It's kind of like the validators get to decide who they stake their TAO to, basically, and it's kind of like a cabal of validators get to decide, and it's kind of like I mean. You need it in the code. You can't have it be people deciding where the money goes, right? So, and that hasn't happened yet, and it's been many months that they've been talking about it. So it just seems like they're having delivery issues too. So, it's not great. I'm trying to be unbiased. It's really not that great. I'm not going to sell though. I'm not financial advice, of course, again, but I'm holding out that they're going to figure it out and get there. But there's risks. I'm not in denial of that.
Yeah, we got to get someone from TAO on the pod as well. And I'm also looking at Allura. It seems to be another network that I've come in contact with that seems to be a competitor with TAO. So I think we should be like comparing these. We should have probably like a whole segment on just comparing the AI protocols and seeing like where are they at right now in terms of traction, team.
Yeah.
I think that could be valuable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you've spoken about Allura before. And I just went to Italy, so I was hearing that a lot in Italy. Yeah, it's kind of interesting if they name the project that. Yeah, it's like a word that's just like okay or so, or it's like a filler word. It's like it's kind of strange. Like when I went to a hotel to check in, I was like, oh yeah, we're here. We're this is me and my wife are here to check in. He's just like Allura. And he goes in and writes our names in, just like, all right, okay. Kind of like, I don't know. It's just like a filler word. Fill the space,
They're all like bag holders over there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just like an interesting name for a project.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Very cool. I guess we got a little bit left on macro and then the legal political landscape. It'll be good to
spiciest for last, huh?
Yeah, I think that's always the best.
Yeah, so macro is the macro. Let's see. I mean, there's some rumors that there's like a light chance that they're going to lower rates in July. I think that's kind of that would be a pretty big shock to the system. But, the labor market's been softening. We've been getting some soft and economic data lately. So I think it's only a matter of time. Like, a lot of other central banks have started easing already. Canada lowered their rates. I think Switzerland lowered their rates too. So I think Europe is cutting as well. So I think it's only a matter of time until we do it. And, Biden needs a little bit of juice. So I think he's definitely going to be pushing them to do it too, which we'll get into in a little bit. But, well, we'll see. But liquidity's actually been drying up a little lately. So that's probably also why crypto markets are suffering, because it's all about liquidity now.
Yeah, it's quite strange. I mean, I guess I don't really understand why supposedly the S&P closed at all-time high today. Just go look. Yeah, I mean,
it's the big tech companies, man. They're carrying the whole market. If you look at like the Mag 7, they call it now. It's not FANG anymore. Apparently, it's Mag 7 now. But like they're up massively. And then if you just took those companies out and looked at the rest of the market, it's like flat. Like most stocks are flat because they haven't really done that well. And you look at the Mag 7 and it's just like up and to the right. So they're basically carrying our stock markets right now, which is kind of wild. But I mean, that can't be healthy. But who am I to say? I don't know. Number go up, so I'm happy.
It's kind of scary though. Like I feel like it doesn't bode well for businesses that want to like catch up or like competitive markets. It feels a little, just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. No, it's not. It can't be healthy. There's no way it's healthy that like those 7 companies have, however, like 20 trillion. No, not that much, but I don't know, like 15 trillion probably combined. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think like SaaS businesses seem to be pulling back a little bit. I think hiring has become a lot easier for those kinds of businesses. Mm-hmm. We're entering the zero interest rate era where, back in the day, this is like before, maybe like around when I was like graduating and getting into like the software engineering market, there was still this like hope of getting, like getting wooed a little bit by certain tech companies. It may have been like ending right around COVID. But nowadays, I think that the talent pool is like very large. Like globalization is also driving like hiring, like outsourcing to different countries. So I think like the tech markets also seems to be contracting a little bit on the talent side. Mm-hmm. But
yep.
I also think it's going to be interesting if you need hundreds of billions of dollars for like infrastructure for training AI models or running them. Like you just can't do that as a small business.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the Magnificent Seven is just, they're kind of like the only businesses next to governments that are poised to experience massively outsized gains here just by securing the base layer.
Yep.
So maybe that explains why we're seeing this, but it does seem like potentially unhealthy. It's a little like nervous feeling, and I guess we're kind of like waiting for the next shoe to drop, but we also have like a soft landing. So I don't know, I'm getting kind of like mixed signals.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of scary because it goes against everything we know about healthy markets. But I mean, we could also be in a new world here. I mean, we're in the exponential age now. So, I mean, could these 7 companies really just be it now? They're just gonna go up. Like, I mean, is Nvidia going to be a $10 trillion company? I mean, I don't know. Like it's like Nvidia, for example, is like just there. I don't see how it doesn't hit higher numbers forever. I mean, they have the GPUs. We need all the computing that they can sell us for however long, right? I mean, I just don't, I mean, they're in like the perfect spot. So I get why it's going up so much. I mean, it doesn't make any sense from a numbers perspective, but I get it because they're like, if you look 10 years into the future, we're going to need all these GPUs and we're going to need all the space for them and compute and all that. So, and the other companies have the data. Google has the data. Meta has the data, and they have the models. So, unless like one of these decentralized solutions can figure it out, like BitTensor or Allura, or you have that. There's another one, artificial superintelligence or something, which is like a combination of FET, Ocean, and Singularity Net. Like that's happening.
Right.
So like maybe there's an opportunity, like they can kind of take some of that value. But yeah, these Web2 companies are just killing it right now. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that just one of these companies is like worth more than the entire crypto market. Like Apple, Amazon, Nvidia they're all worth more individually than the entire crypto market. It's just like wild to think about.
Yeah, it's quite shocking. AI is definitely winning the race right now for global attention, and I think they just hit product market fit so fast. Just something you can talk to, and you can has a personality, you can relate to it, and you learn so fast from it. Crypto is more of like a boring. I mean, it's fun for speculation and gambling, but it also has really powerful use cases that maybe are like harder to process in like a fast and easy way. And of course, it was like kind of smeared. I think it had a bit of a harsher smearing culturally than AI has. Sure. AI, people are like scared of like robots taking over, and there's been some Black Mirror episodes, but like, people will still use ChatGPT and have a fun time. But I think there's been quite a lot of lawsuits, and the NFT bro, crypto bro, that vibe has been stickier than I think.
Yeah, that's true.
The AI, like evil AI narrative. So
I actually think merging those two worlds is going to be a big win for crypto. Like if there's a like if you think about like agents, right? Like AI agents, I think this is going to be a bigger thing over the next few years. Like right now we're just talking about the models where you have to tell it to do something, but agents are basically just going to be like automations, right? Like, and I think they're going to have to use blockchain cryptocurrencies to transact financially. It just makes sense to me. Like you're already seeing that. I mean, if you have trading bots, right? Like they're basically doing that already, right? But they're kind of dumb because all they do is trade. But what if you had a bot that could do anything you tell it to? If you like, one idea I had was like dating profiles, right? Like what if you could have like an avatar that texts people for you, looks at profiles for you, everything, and then sets up the date for you too. So like it buys tickets to events for you and like sets up date with this person. So like you go to work, you come home, and then you look at your avatar. It's like, oh, I met this person and you have tickets on Wednesday to go to this thing with her because you both like this. And like that would be kind of crazy, right? So like,
it'd be sick.
In a world where we run on the blockchain, that is like, it's very native. Like it's internet money. You transact. It's instantaneous, right? To me, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we're not close to it right now, but in 5 years, I think that could be more of a reality for sure.
Yeah, I think the AI, the agents, and the ability to like plug in so easily to payments without being limited by banking, like the banking APIs they're just not designed for this. Like you're gonna have to wait for Stripe to integrate every chain. Like they don't have the bandwidth for this. But if you have these open source protocols you can plug into really fast and easily, the agents are going to be able to move very quickly there on the financial front and globally. Like you can have AI agents transacting, doing global commerce and whatnot.
Yep.
I also think there's going to be massive need for verification and proof of personhood. I maintain that protocols like WorldCoin and any sort of proof of humanity project is going to be so critical in the long term for verifying that key figures and events are actually real. There's going to be so much manipulation as AI gets better and better and more widespread, where you're just going to have fake news up the wazoo. And at a certain point, it's just going to become, like the White House and every other government or corporation is not going to have the energy to be like, actually, this is fake, or like, actually, this is fake. Sometimes they might say something's fake even when it's real and people won't know who to believe. I feel like every piece of information is going to need to be watermarked through some cryptographic on-chain mechanism where it's like every piece of data that you produce at the OS level or the hardware level is going to need to have this watermarking. That is going to definitely be a crypto related
yeah, it's a good point.
Innovation. So
very good point. Yeah, we are in desperate need of this. I like even like when you think of like that would get rid of the password, right? Like we wouldn't need passwords anymore. We would have another way to verify who we are. Like that would solve so many problems with like just OPSEC and cybersecurity. So I mean that has implications even beyond crypto. Like it's just we are in sore need of these type of solutions. So no, that's a good take. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, excited to see how that space develops.
All right, want to wrap it up with the most fun topic of the evening, which our political situation.
Well, yeah, we'll wrap up with the political fun times. So basically, I mean, we've seen this. I think we discussed this last time. It's basically confirmed that the Republican Party seems to have embraced crypto basically fully. And I'm going to try to pull up this story here. So they've added it to their platform, and they made a lot of references to things like CBDC and not allowing them, and defending the right to mine Bitcoin. The current administration has been very anti-Bitcoin mining and transacting free from this government surveillance and control, like we're seeing in some other countries. I think CBDCs, like I see them often described as like a cool little fun tech topic, but I think they're deeply concerning to freedom and should absolutely be like viciously denied. So I've not seen any of that from the Democrat side, unfortunately, but the Republican side seems to be firmly against it. So that's a positive for them. And there's also this Ross Albright situation. I'm personally not too plugged into exactly like what's going on with this guy, but I don't know. Are you familiar with that as well? Like I know he's a Silk creator, and people seem to be pretty jazzed about him getting freed. But
yeah, well, yeah, he is a very controversial figure. I mean, so for anyone who doesn't know who this is, he created Silk Road many years ago, and basically it was just Bitcoin back then, and it was a website where you could buy pretty much anything, and I do mean anything. So he was eventually arrested because there was a lot of illegal things being transacted on the platform. Again, whatever you could think of, it was for sale on there. So he eventually was, arrested and sentenced to life in prison, many life sentences. I think it was multiple life sentences. So he's still in prison for this. Some believe that it was unfair. Others believe he deserves it and he knew what he was doing. I don't know if he deserves life in prison for it, but I mean, he definitely deserves something. But yeah, he's a very controversial figure. But the offer to free him is strange. I don't know why Trump would do that. Like, why would I don't get what that's about. It's just kind of it's a weird position. It's a weird position for Trump to take. It just doesn't seem like it benefits him really. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it does seem strange.
Yeah,
I have seen people on the ground very excited by this, and I just haven't really dug into it too deeply to really have an opinion on it. So, but they're definitely going after it.
Yeah,
as a policy point. So
yeah, this is a thorny
we'll have
one.
To see how that plays out.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just a very weird position for him to take. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any opinions on that. I just think it's like very. I think Trump just said it just to make people happy, and I don't know if he's actually going to do it. It's,
right.
Who knows? But yeah, he has a Twitter.
We'll
Ross has a Twitter account, and I was reading through his Twitter account like a month ago, and he was like, oh, I lost my 30s in prison. I'm just kind of like this sad story. I'm just like, dude, come on, you knew what was going on. Like you knew what you were doing. If you did that today, it would be very illegal still. So I don't know. Like,
right. There's definitely a lot of extremely sketchy stuff there.
Yeah. Very.
So yeah, and then I guess we can close on this. I think, supply market. I mean, this is crazy. $240 million locked up in this one.
Jesus.
And, very massive. This might be like their largest pool at the moment. And where they have the graph here. Yeah, I mean, after the debate performance, everything kind of skyrocketed. Or it's not showing up here, but at least Biden's chances, these drop significantly right after the debate. And, we're going to see what happens. But, Biden drops out. The race now what is it now? It's at 47% chance. Very significant. So, we'll see. I think we're in for a very spicy time politically.
It was up 75% at one point. Damn. Man, yeah, this what a drama story, right? This whole thing is wild. He wrote a letter this morning. It just came out basically with a whole Wolf of Wall Street, I'm not fucking leaving argument. Yeah. Basically, I'm not leaving, basically. So, yeah, I don't know. This is just crazy stuff. They dug their hole and now they have to climb out of it. So we'll see. This is going to be a very dramatic election, just like it always is. But his stance of fighting the crypto industry, it was not smart. I don't know what he's had to gain out of that at all. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, definitely a fumble for sure. And I don't know, I've seen some interesting takes where they're looking at the 12 metrics that determine a presidential election winner, and they're forecasting this, and they're even suggesting that Biden dropping out might actually be worse than him staying in the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're gonna have to see because the alternatives are not going to necessarily.
They're horrible.
Be a shoe-in.
They're really in a bad spot because if he drops out, they have to. What I've read is that they lose the campaign funding because it has to be either him or Kamala, otherwise they lose the campaign funding. So they would have to go for another funding round, right? For example, if they picked Gavin Newsom, they would have to go for a whole new round for him, right? They only have 4 months, so they have to get all the money together, and then they have to come up with the campaign. Then they got to do the marketing, the debates. It's too much to happen in 4 months. It's not going to happen. So, basically, the other option's Kamala, which is she's worse. So I mean, I don't know. It's they're just fucked. Honestly, he has to run.
Wow. Okay. So he can't send his. Well, I don't know. It must have been over $100 million in fundraising. You can't just send it over Venmo to Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, just so hit up a Solana action over Twitter and just have the transaction. Yeah, I'm sure they could do something where they set up a fund for Gavin and then Biden's a donor or something and he just donates stuff. They could probably do that pretty quickly. Yeah, they have to just get around the legal loophole. But it's just more stuff, more paperwork they have to do. It's tough to do all that. It's a lot of work in 4 months. If this was a year ago, if this had happened a year ago, sure, swap him out. He can't do it. But it's close now, man. I don't know. I think he has to run, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the swap's going to happen, but I do think this is going to be very spicy. And I don't know. I just feel everyone's just not about it anymore. I think when they see the polling and all the mainstream media, once the mainstream media turns against you, it's you're done.
Yep.
So I just don't see the support there anymore. They can't really. People are very. I just feel the Biden or the Gavin switch is just going to happen, and they're just going to roll with it. But we're going to have to. I mean, see how it all plays out.
I do feel keeping him in is a guaranteed loss at this point. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do just need to throw the Hail Mary. But it would be a first if he won if they did that and he ended up winning. That would be a first ever for this country to have that happen. So we'll see. But he's got to decide soon because we're every day is very critical at this point. So we'll see. The convention's in 5 or 6 weeks. So they got to do it before then. So
exciting.
very dramatic stuff. So cool.
Well, yeah, good.
Thanks
Great
for sticking
stuff.
with us,
yeah,
everyone.
Good chat.
It's a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff packed in this episode. Go enjoy your summers, touch grass. I don't really see markets doing much for a while. We'll see, but I just feel like after this sell-off, the people are just going to take a break for a little while.
Right. Yeah, I hope people do. I think I'll need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, great stuff. We'll be in touch very soon.
Cool. Awesome. All right, take care out there.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Peace out.